the streets of Cincinnati. Welcome to the jungle! Let's go. Stripes, 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 yeah. Stripes, 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 yeah. Stripes, 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 yeah. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, day we ignite and Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. Day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle dripping heat, tigers strut the city streets. East side stand up, west side stand up. If you reppin' who they, time to put your hands up. Bengals stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati jungle fitted. Who they in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping. Nasty, natty, yeah, we lit it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feasting now. Fit the bounce, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Stripes. Now who wanna move closer? Stripes. Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we fought 'em. Like that black and orange on bottom, bingo bottom, never stop it till the beast and know who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossin' on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen, we gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, day we ignite and Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Now who wanna move close and on? Now who wanna move on? All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I'm bringing you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of the soon-to-be Super Bowl champion Cincinnati Bengals. Now, do me a favor, if you found the show, hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up. We did it. I'm up to 1,500 subscribers. That is awesome. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I'll try to get you like 500 more weeks to get to 2,000 subscribers. Anyway, that is awesome. I appreciate you guys. Now, if you are watching the show on Facebook or Twitter and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, what are you waiting on? Go to YouTube, look up Sports with Strawberry Ice, hit the subscription button, hit the bell for the notification, and every time I go live, you'll be notified. Also, exclusively in the YouTube chat crew, we're doing super chats. So if you want to make sure your comment gets read, because sometimes I get a lot of comments and I try to go through them all, and I can't get to every single one of them, but if you give me a super chat, I will definitely get to it. So make sure if you got some kind of point or something, you want to make sure you get out there, give me a super chat. Again, I would greatly appreciate it. On today's show, we're talking NFL free agency, and we're talking the NFL draft with Kerean. I know some people say it's rated R. So, yeah. Ray Robinson, you messaged me on YouTube. I don't, it doesn't ring a bell, man. You're going to have to give me some more information on who you are. So, sorry. So, what's up to everybody in the chat crew? Lindsay, Foreskin, Tim, that's a new one. Crown, what's up? What's going on? He says, LSU needs help. Who else we got? Dale's in there, my boy Dale. And hey, anybody want to get some really cool draft stuff, go follow Dale on Twitter. He is all about it. So definitely check him out. Coleman, my friend, what's up? What's up? All right, let's get to, as some people say, the rated R portion of this show. And for people who know, Kerean is literally from Boston. So you got to deal with his Boston accent, okay? But he knows his stuff. They got the draft guide coming out. I can't wait for it. I think it's coming out in the beginning of March, somewhere around there, I think they said. I will, when it comes out, when it hits, I will let you guys know so you guys can order it. But let's get to Kerean. Kerean, what's up, my boy?
What's going on, man? I'm a little bit sick today, but we're here to talk about the draft. So it's still all fun for me. I got my Bearcats out on as well.
Like it, love it, love it, love it, love it. That's awesome, dude. I am. So anyway, if you guys got questions or anything for Kerean, pop them up in there, and we will get this thing going.
Literally, anything about quarterbacks or cornerbacks from this draft, I am your man.
Exactly. All right, so let's get into this. Let's talk about free agency. That's what a lot of us are talking about here. And I kind of changed my mind. I want to start this off here real quick. I kind of changed my mind a little bit from yesterday's show. I did some more research, and you and me were talking. And I'm more of yesterday I said, sign a tackle and a guard or sign 2 tackles. I've kind of changed my mind. I'm with still signing a tackle. Don't get me wrong. But I kind of like Ryan Jensen, the center out of Tampa Bay. If you sign him, you sign Q, and then you can kick Trey Hopkins over to guard, Joey Williams at right tackle, I think we're good. That's my thing. And then get a cornerback, which you're going to talk about here, and I'll let you. I don't want to steal your thunder. I'll let you talk about the cornerback. But anyway, but the other thing we got is Trey on Armstead. I'll let you speak on that.
Incredible player. I mean, obviously, we both know he missed a few games and stuff, but he's absolutely incredible. What he's done in New Orleans is absolutely ridiculous, and he's really lucky that he's fallen to us, because there's no chance ever that they were going to let him go if it wasn't for their cap situation, because he is that good as a tackle. So bringing him in, yeah, I get it. He's 30, but you've got guys like Quinton Spain who are already, 30 years old and things like that. So you need the experience there at times. And I think in terms of what you're getting for this left tackle, absolute beast.
Absolutely. I mean, it's nothing. There's nothing there that is a ding 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 ding. Let's not get that guy. I mean, he's 30 years old. He's on the upswing. It's a good time to get him. Now, another one we have is let's see here. Let's scroll down here. Who is the next one? You wanted to go to JC? Is that here? Talk about next? I think that's the next one on PFF.
JC Jackson, yeah, guy I actually have a lot of experience watching. Came into the Patriots organization as an undrafted free agent, and I mean, look at what he did. So Stephon Gilmore obviously had his Defensive Player of the Year season in New England Patriots, and then the year later, because no one was targeting Stephon Gilmore, they thought they could pick on JC Jackson. It's not how that works. That dude has been an absolute beast since he got to the Patriots. He grinded his way to get to where he is, and I think in terms of, I mean, he's definitely a top 5 cornerback in the league. So signing him is a no-brainer. You pair him with Chidobe Awuzie, you probably got one of the best secondaries in the AFC.
Somebody's shouting out to you saying, "Go Israel."
I don't support Israel, but it is what it is.
Exactly. All right, let's see Coleman here.
We're not going to get into
we're not getting into politics here. I thought it was a soccer thing, so never mind. He said, Coleman here says, "Will the Bengals draft Sauce Gardner?
No.
And should they? No, they won't draft him.
You would have to give up so much draft capital to move from that pick. Always, you're going to have to move up to potentially top 10, top 15, and that's just not going to happen. It's too much to get him. But the thing we're going to get into when we get to the mock draft, there's another guy at Cincinnati who definitely deserves a draft pick.
Talking about Kobe Bryant?
That's him. That man is special. Let me tell you that. In terms of, obviously he won the cornerback award last year, and most of that, I will say, his production was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody wanted to target Sauce. Sauce never gave up a touchdown his entire college career, which is just exceptional in and of itself. You can talk about it being The chat, they're not talking about soccer. It's because I got the Palestine flag in my name on the screenshot you gave me. If you want to talk to me on Twitter. We're here to talk about football because that's what I know best. I'll school you in geopolitics, but let's talk about football for now. Exactly. So Kobe Bryant, his production was through the roof because everyone was targeting him. Nobody went to go at source. You're not going to target a guy who literally who's never given up a touchdown. It's just not going to work out. So Kobe Bryant came in. He just he fed off that production. Everything he did, he's played so many games. He's absolutely exceptional as a corner. And I think because of Kobe Bryant, they are. Thank you, Augie. You can come follow me on Twitter as well. The thing I like about Kobe is he wasn't scared. He wasn't scared to go out and say, "Hey, I'm a bad motherfucker. I don't care if you're going to come target me. I don't care if you're going to try and expose this side of the field." And he went out there. Great amount of picks, great amount of pass breakups. And one thing I really like, I talk about this whenever I talk about how much I like corners. I've told you this before. What separates an elite corner from an average corner? It's the ability to tackle. Because it's so underrated in a person who you see breaking up plays, learning how to pattern match, following guys upfield, shallowing guys upfield. Their tackling is almost a so underrated part of the game. But if you go from Jalen Ramsey to Tre'Davious White to JC Jackson to Stephon Gilmore, all these guys have one thing in common, and it's their ability to tackle. And Kobe and Source both have that. And I don't think... Obviously, Kobe is head and shoulders above. Source is obviously head and shoulders above Kobe, but I've still got Kobe in my top 5 corners from the draft this year. He's better than guys like Khair Elam and stuff like that. So do not turn your nose up at this guy. Problem is, because he went to school with Source, chances are he's probably going to fall a little bit. So we could potentially get him in the second round if we trade up to midway second round, kind of like you guys did last year. Traded up a few extra picks to get Jackson Carmen in the second round. Do that again to get Kobe Bryant. I think that makes a lot of sense to do that.
Now let's get the Dale's comment here. We're talking about Armstead. The cost of Armstead as the cost of potential 3 upgrades. Bates is the Bengals tier 1 signing. Now I have a question that what about, and I've heard, and we've, I think just Mike says this is kind of hinted at this, that Orlando Brown actually might be interested in coming to Cincinnati. What's your thoughts on Orlando Brown being the Bengals' new left tackle?
Now, if you can actually go out and land him, this is ridiculous because he went out to KC, had a fantastic year. Honestly, really stuck out at that tackle position for them. The reason he didn't want to say at the Ravens is just because they didn't want to play him in a position where he was comfortable at, which is actually, makes a lot of sense. But then Orlando Brown, just the size and length he's got, he's absolutely phenomenal. Now, like it says here, he is a much better pass blocker. But what are we looking for in our tackles? We need guys who can pass block because Joe Mixon finished third. What was it? Third in rushing yards with what can only be described as a below average line. Now, we'll address Zach Taylor's comments as well, saying this line got us to a Super Bowl. He has to say that.
He's just saying that he's not going to, and I've said this, he's not going to throw his guys under the bus. That's all that was. He never has thrown his guys under the bus. And people are acting like he's taking that as he's okay with the offensive line. That's not true. I mean, they didn't even lead on to that they were going to draft jackpot Joey Burrow 2 years ago, and we all knew they were going to. So we all know they're going to fix the offensive line. I mean, that's a given.
Yeah, and the natural put a great point in chat. He said the Bengals can't wait for offensive linemen to develop anymore because Super Bowl windows close fast. And that actually brings me on to my next point. A lot of people, guys, have you in the first round taking Raymond out of Central Michigan, and that is not good. Not only is he almost 25 years old, he's a very late starter coming from Europe. He is so raw. It's going to take a year or so to develop him into a premium tackle or guard, and you cannot wait for that. That is just not a good idea at all. So we'll get into the draft aspect in the things at the moment, but I think free agency is 100% the way you've got to go to build this team. You're going to go for free agency for needs and talent. Then you go to the draft for depth. That's the only way you guys have to build this team now. It's worked for a lot of teams before. And look, worked with the Rams. Obviously, we're not going to be that reckless with cap space and picks, but look at what it's done for them.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too, and that's what I keep saying is I want them to fix the offensive line of free agency. Get at least 2 offensive linemen. Like I said, I've kind of changed my mind. I want a tackle and a center. And this is this. I'll bring this up here real quick. So I'm talking about. I want Brian Jensen. I think he would be perfect to get on here. And then you, like I said, you re-sign Quentin Spain and you kick Hopkins over to guard. And the reason I say this is because the Bengals historically do not pay for guards. They just don't pay them. That's just and I could. This is the route I could see them taking. You get Quentin Spain, and I know he got beat on the last play, but overall, Quentin Spain has had a really good year. If you have Orlando Brown or Armstead next to him, I think it's going to help him out. And you get Ryan Jensen in between them, you kick Hopkins over to guard, which Hopkins was a very good guard. That's why they moved him to the center. So, and then you got Jonah Williams at your right tackle. Dude, I think we're set. And if we get J.C. Jackson, the cornerback there from New England, Kerean, I think we're set, dude.
And the thing is, because the line as a whole has been bad, guys like Quentin Spain and Jonah Williams have just kind of been overlooked because you're not paying attention to an offensive line unless they're doing bad. Let's be honest. Quentin Nelson is consistently one of the best players in the NFL, but nobody talks about him because he's not messing up. You're only going to talk about him when he's getting his quarterback sacked or can't make blocks for Jonathan Taylor. So that's what we need. We just need dependable guys who are going to keep Joey upright. The plan to give up half the amount of sacks that we gave up last year would be absolutely perfect. I think that would make a lot of sense. But that's what we're going to go. That's what we should go after in free agency. Then we can definitely look at the draft for building the depth once we have the talent on the surface.
Exactly. Our Dale says our tier 2 O lineman guys are Connor Williams and Austin Colbert, Ben Jones, James Daniels, Trent Brown. Go get 3 type of those guys in his opinion. And they talk about the draft. So let's get to it. So we talked about free agency, how we think they could easily. I think it's pretty easy to fix it, to be honest. I really do. Now
it's not hard. It's just Mike Brown has to be not Mike Brown. Sorry, I forget the owner's name. Brown, Mr. Brown.
Mike Brown. You're right.
To go out.
Yeah,
Mike Brown.
Yeah.
He needs to go out and spend some fucking money. I'm gonna just be real with you.
Which Kerean he has the last 2 years, so that's why I'm not worried about it. I really think they're going to.
Yeah, I don't doubt him at all. You were there in Washington Park. You heard exactly what he said.
Yep.
And as long as he was being truthful with us fans and not just giving us platitudes because there was thousands of us there screaming,
right.
But if he's true to his word, then he's going to keep Joe Burrow upright because that is the key to success, is keeping Joe Burrow upright. Exactly. I mean, he sprained his MCL, but that's just bed rest. He's going to be back. This team is something special.
We want him to end next year with no knee problems. We'd like that to happen. Brandon
the only time Joe is going to hurt his knee next year is because he's kneeling the ball so much because we're up so big in the fourth quarter.
Right, exactly. Brandon here says, keep an eye out for 2 linemen from the Rams that are going to hit free agency if the Rams don't re-sign him. So I don't know. Which ones are?
I haven't got a clue. I'm pissed off with the Rams right now. They just stole LSU's receiver coach. He's not even been on campus and he's already got a job with the Rams. I guess that's wide receiver you in full effect for you. But do you want to get to the draft in a second? Because I've got a great little Bengals mock draft whipped up for you guys.
Yeah, let me get this comment here real quick and then we'll get into that. Free agency worked for the defense this past season, so hopefully it'll work on the offense. Exactly. That's what I think they're going to do. I think they are going to attack the free agency with the offensive line and cornerback and then go for depth and the best player available is in the draft. All right, go for it, Kerean. What do you got?
So, with the 31st pick of the 2022 NFL draft, if I can actually, if the notes app on my phone, I just need to get what school he's from. The Cincinnati Bengals select Zion Johnson, offensive line, Boston College. Now, this guy, he's going to be, you're going to have to put him on the interior, possibly opposite Jackson Carman, but he's absolutely fantastic. And we saw at the Senior Bowl, just manhandling people, like to the point where it looked like if I went out and pass blocked a 2-year-old, that's what he was doing. He was just completely manhandling people. He went out there and he absolutely he just beasted out. And I think if you get this guy in the first round, he can just simply be plug and play. That's what he is. Sure, he's going to develop and get better, but in the fact the guy who's going to come in day one camp, put in the work, and be good from the get-go, this is the perfect guy to go for. Now, there's a couple other guys in this draft, but I think given the draft position we have, Zion Johnson is going to be the best guy available. That takes us to round 2, where the Cincinnati Bengals trade up with, I don't know, probably the Giants or something.
Right.
And then you go ahead and draft Kobe Bryant out of Cincinnati. We've been over him. Absolutely exceptional corner. The way he follows guys upfield, his athleticism is great. He's got great click and close speed. His ability is absolutely top notch. Not much more else I could say. He's just a beast.
Right.
Round 3, go ahead and select Damone Clark out of LSU. Now, I know you're going to call me a homer.
You're a homer, Kerean. Total homer.
I'm a Simpson. But he is absolutely fantastic. You know, Lou, is that Amaruno? I always pronounce his name wrong.
Anarumo, yeah.
But if you pair Clark and Wilson, are you insane? Are you? It wouldn't be fair. The linebacker talent that's come out of LSU in the past few years is absolutely exceptional. So if you could somehow plug him in with Wilson, rotate him with guys like Pratt and
yeah,
what is it? Get I can't remember if it's, I can't pronounce his name properly. Gaither Davis or something.
Akeem Davis Gaither.
That's the one. I always get that mixed up. It
I got you.
Every single time. You know, just a rotational guy. He'd be absolutely fantastic. And the speed he has.
Right.
You could literally stick him on a QB spy every single different play you have against the Ravens, and he is going to be able to compete with Lamar Jackson physically and be able to shut him down. He's just that sort of player. He's high motor, high intensity. He went to the best school on earth, so you know his pedigree is absolutely fantastic when it gets to the pros. Now we get to round 4, and this is where we get a little bit interesting, because I had two minds of thought here. So on one mind, I was thinking maybe Abraham Lucas out of Washington State. 6'7", really big guy, and being at Washington State, that is an air raid system. So 90% of what he's doing is pass blocking.
Right.
But because of what we're going after in free agency, I'm going to go with something a little bit different. And if he falls here, which he might not, Neil Farrell, another LSU guy, but he's a big D tackle who can take up a lot of space in the middle of the field. Now, I liken him to a guy like Osa Odighizuwa, who was drafted last year out of UCLA. Absolutely fantastic. And what I liked about Osa Odighizuwa, he's a state champion wrestler. So he had a supreme knowledge of how leverage works and how to use people's weight against him. Now, while Ed doesn't have that championship wrestler caliber, what he does do, he has extremely violent hands. He gets pad height correct almost every single snap, and he goes every single play. You can play him 4-tech, 5-tech, nose tackle, whatever you want him to do on that line, he is available to do, and he eats up blocks like crazy just because he's a big guy. And it's the thing, he makes linemen twitchy, and I'm not talking about him being a particularly intimidating presence. By the way, he is, because he's just a huge guy. But it's the fact that he's so violent and the fact that he's so quick with his hands that it does make guys a little bit twitchy. So you might be able to get a couple of false starts with him in there.
Right.
And what we're on to
again, this is all a draft with in mind that the Bengals have fixed their offensive line. And hopefully got a number 1 or number 2 cornerback for everybody who's just tuning in now. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get up to round 5 are we at now?
Yep.
Jelani Woods, tight end out of Virginia. Now, I like Thaddeus Moss. I think he's possibly the best blocking tight end on your team. But not a big fan of Drew Sample, and I'm not sure Fad's going to make the roster. So Jelani Woods would be a great pick. Pair him next to CJ Uzomah.
Uzomah.
He's a big, long athlete. He's very, very fast for a tight end as well. And the way he can get up there under people's pads, engage some blocks is almost... He's a really fantastic player. Now, if he falls this far, fantastic. It might not happen. But if he's there, we should go grab him, because another guy to take over Drew Sample's saps, Absolutely fantastic. And he's also a receiving threat, just like CJ is. And now people talk about, oh, CJ, the stats aren't quite there. But yeah, he's a safety blanket for Joe Burrow. We've seen what he can do when you give him the ball. The problem is there's the Migos out there on the field. You've got Tyler Boyd, you've got T. Higgins, you've got Jamar Chase. So all these guys, Jelani Woods just fits in perfectly, and he'd be another little safety blanket for Burrow. But you can also bring him in on those 12-man personnel looks, just eat up some blocks. Another fantastic guy.
So, Kerean, what's your thoughts here on Crown? He said, which is it sucks, but it's true. So far, Moss said about stay healthy.
Ever since he had the foot surgery, once he graduated from LSU, his health has been all over the place. Now, when we went to PBS, we saw him practicing. He looked fantastic, but all he was doing was out there blocking. But he was, bro, he was keeping Trey Hendrickson in line. Like, do you know how hard that is? It just, he's ridiculous. And we see Augie in here. Tight end depth makes sense because CJ Uzama is a premium tight end now.
He's your number one. You need, and we talked about this off the air before, is that we need backup tight ends. We need more depth, and that's the thing. And one thing I want to bring up, that not to cut you off here or change it, but one thing, a point you brought up to me off the air, and we gotta give credit to Zim about this though too, is where Zim keeps saying he wants to get defense, which is Zim's right. It wants to be like the Philadelphia Eagles when they could just keep rotating guys in. And, it wore everybody out. But the thing is, my point is, yes, I want defense, but we need a tight end, and we need that has to be addressed, I think, as well as linebackers and safeties and edge rushers too. So that's where I think we can't forget about the tight end depth, because, like I said, when CJ went out in the Kansas City game, we're stuck with Drew Sample. So I think,
no offense to Drew Sample, he's an LFL level tight end, but he's not an NFL starter. That's the problem. He's good, but he's not great, and we need great. CJ Uzama is great, and this is just another pick that goes towards that. This team is ready, so we need the best guys who can go out. We haven't got time to develop people.
Right.
I know we got Joe Burrow for the next few years, but look, even Tom Brady had a break in the middle of his career, so we want Joe to win 3-4 Super Bowls now. Take a couple down years. People can, whine because we're
not gonna be able to keep everybody. You're gonna have to rebuild a little bit or something.
Yeah, exactly. Which actually gets to my next point. The round 6.
Let me get the Dale's here real quick. He said, get 3 offensive linemen free agency. That opens up the draft to get a top cornerback. I don't see the Bengals signing 3 top ones. I see them. I don't know. I just see them signing 2 and getting Spain and kicking Hopkins over. That's just my own personal feeling about it. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I'll be glad to be wrong about it, but I just don't see them signing 3 of them. I don't know. Go ahead, Kerean.
And then round 6, another guy that is simply for depth. Cole Strange, another lineman out of Chattanooga. He doesn't have to come far, because if my geography doesn't fail me, Chattanooga's only like northern Tennessee, which is essentially Kentucky at this point. So yeah, another great depth piece who, he's got a bit of versatility. You can rotate him. You can keep the guys in and out. Another thing me and Zim talked about, keeping the guys fresh, keep ticking over. That's why we need guys like Larry O. That's why we need guys like Joseph Osai. Big guys in the middle who are going to eat up a ton of space for guys like Hendrickson and Hubbard to just go out there and ball. And I'm still angry at Sam Hubbard. Dude wouldn't give me $20 after he signed the new contract. Absolutely ridiculous. And that brings us to round 7, where, gonna be honest, not many guys I've looked at, but I think if he falls, which he probably won't, but we got to look at Bailey Zapp, quarterback out of Western Kentucky. Now, I know what you're all thinking. Why would we draft a quarterback in the 6th round? Purely because of the fact this man threw 61 touchdowns in college, and he would be an incredible backup for Joe Burrow. Now, if you draft him purely as, in terms of him and Brandon Allen as players, they are heads and shoulders above Brandon Allen. He can go out there, he can make plays, he can read defenses. He is supremely talented. So if you get him in, then you've got a solid backup for many years to come. And I think, that's going to be the perfect draft. And I think you have 2 seventh round picks. Alex Pierce, wide receiver out of Cincinnati. Now, I know a lot of people don't have him getting drafted at all or him being a super late round pick. But how are you going to turn down a guy who is built like Jordy Nelson? He's 6'3". He's got sure hands. He's a great wide receiver. He eats up a lot of space. And then if you put him into that Trent Taylor role, rub routes every now and then, just, occasionally get him in for a Trenton Irwin style play. Picks up 30 yards. You remember that Trenton Irwin pass Joe hit?
Yeah.
Those sort of plays. Occasionally have him as a third down receiver, eating up space, especially when you get to the red zone. Now, him and T. Higgins are the same size. T. Higgins is like, 6'3", 6'4". Alec is listed as 6'3", but we know, those numbers kind of get inflated in college. So he's probably like 6'1", 6'2.5". So you have him in there on red zone possessions. The thing the Bengals struggled with this year was scoring in the red zone. Now, we had that phenomenal trick play, halfback pass in the Super Bowl. But outside of that, what really have we done in the red zone? It's not much. And he's another one of those huge guys who can get up there. He plays the ball fantastic vertically. The way he gets up to the catch point and attacks that ball is very, very aggressive. And he's got absolute vice grips for hands. He does have some drops, but when he gets hands on the ball, that's fantastic. And that's another point from Ken Hammock. He can play special teams. He's fairly speedy. So if you put him in as like a gunner or a punt block, like a Matthew Slater role, everyone knows who Matthew Slater is in New England. He's an absolute beast on the special teams. Year in, year out, he is a Pro Bowler for special teams. And I think we could have that same sort of thing with Alec Pierce. It's not giving up a ton of draft capital, but it's another just depth on special teams or depth on third down or depth in the red zone. That's what this team needs to do to build. We saw it with the 2017 Eagles. Depth, and specifically was their D-line. Now, they did call me out on our side being pure pass rush and not inside. But the fact that he just is there to eat up bodies, that's what we need guys to do, to eat up. We need a guy who, maybe not an Aaron Donald, maybe not a guy who sparks fear into people, but a guy who can get out there, eat up blocks, take up blockers on the side. And this team is set. The defense is already very good. And we've got Eli Apple as one of the premium corners. Now, I know a lot of people shit on him, but he's very, very, very inconsistent. And if we replace him with Kobe, there's more consistency off the bat. And then we add all these players in the draft. It's giving you depth upon depth upon depth. So if someone is hurt, it's next man up. If someone needs a rest, next man up. You can build this team into potentially not just the second best team in the league like it is now. And this isn't going to be a Cleveland Browns situation where we build this fantastic roster on paper.
We got a better quarterback.
But we have a coach in like Freddie Kitchens who doesn't know his difference between his ass and a hole in the
right.
Like Baker Mayfield, who cares more about how he looks than the team looks. This is a scary Cincinnati Bengals team.
I'll get that cool comment here. He's got two of them. I'll read back to back here. He said, if I'm Duke Tobin and we address the O-line of free agency, I'm not going to be scared to draft an O-line to fill out depth. So when those free agents leave or retire, those linemen can start. That's exactly my point too. I got something. We'll read this, and I got something to follow up with that. Not saying to reach out or go out of my way to draft O-lineman, but very quality depth can be played in 3 years. Would be nice if it was there at
cheap
at 3.
Too.
Now, my thing is with this too, and I'm going with guys that we already have. Jax Carman and Deontay Smith. I think those two are future guards, maybe a future tackle, definitely both future guards. They're still, I think, a couple years away. That's where, Aquil, if you just joined the show, my thought process is you go out and you sign Armstead or you sign Orlando Brown and make them your left tackle. And then you move Jonah over to right. And then you re-sign Spain and you sign Ryan Jensen as your center and you kick Trey Hopkins over to right guard. And then, like I said, you got Jonah Williams at your right tackle. So you have Quentin and you have Hopkins as your guards. And the thing is, you got Jax Carman and Deontay Smith sitting in the background developing for another year. So maybe in 2023, maybe you can put both them in, at least one of them in at guard. So to me, that is, it's kind of to your point of also along with drafting guys. Those guys are already here. I think they're good potential starting guards. They just need to be developed into it. And if you can let them sit behind Hopkins and Q for next year or another year, I think that's a very good way to attack this.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking at right now. Everything Ken said it perfectly in chat. You can bring that up on screen, like the old college saying, we aren't rebuilding every few years. We are reloading with talent that we've drafted and developed. And that's why guys like Frank Pollock are key. Now, if I had $1 billion, I would give it all to Dante Scarnecchia and convince him to come back and coach the O-line, because without a doubt, he's probably one of the best O-line coaches that's ever walked this earth. He turned David Andrews into a man that absolutely destroyed Aaron Donald in the Super Bowl, so he knows what he's doing. But Frank Pollock is that type of O-line coach. He doesn't go for flashy. He doesn't go finesse. He says, hey, what are we going to drill today? 3 things: fundamentals, fundamentals, fundamentals. Because you know what? If your fundamentals are perfect, then you don't have to worry about anything else. Tackle and guard and center is not a flashy position, but everything you do there has to be on technique. When you are going up against guys like Nick and Joey Bosa, who have those elite first steps, guys who can really get you outside or inside, these very, very fast guys, it's absolutely ridiculous what some of these guys are going to have to go up against. So if you have guys like Jackson Carman who you can sit and develop, so when they come on the field, they are absolutely premium guys, then we've built this We've built this great. And I think, honestly, if we smash this, which, by the way, we can send this to Zach Taylor. This is the blueprint to make this team great. I'm not saying I'm better at his job than him, but let me tell you this right now. If I was running the Cincinnati Bengals scouting department, you probably wouldn't have got Joe Burrow, because you wouldn't have had that first overall pick. I'm just putting that out there. So,
well, I'm glad you weren't there, because I'm glad we got jackpot.
They should hire us.
Right. Exactly.
But if they do all these things, not only are they going to have the surface level talent that's going to be out there starting 90% of regular season snaps, they're going to have those guys that play their position so well, that are so hungry, that have a motor that runs so hot, they're going to get on the field and break games even as just a backup. This is what people don't realize. If you get guys in your building who want to play, who want to win, and they're a backup, do you know how angry you get drafted Alec Pierce, for example. Do you know how pissed off he's going to be at playing wide receiver his whole college career, and you put him in on special teams? That man's going to go spastic trying to get on offensive snaps. So you've got all these things going on, and it's the culture. We keep talking about this culture that Zach has built, and this truly is where it's going to show in a big draft like this, when we need guys to come in, buy into the culture, and say, hey, if I'm not starting, I need to do every single thing I can do to earn a starting spot. That's what Jackson Carman should be looking to do. It's what Zion Johnson should be looking to do. If we draft him, all these guys need to be. Jamar Chase, don't promise him a starting job. Don't promise Joe Mixon a starting job. Make these guys work hard day in, day out. And I guarantee you, when we sit here this time next year, we won't be talking about the 31st pick in the draft. We're talking about the 32nd pick in the draft, and we'll probably still be drunk from the Super Bowl party that we've been to. I am telling you that right now.
I'll get the coolest comment here. It said, if we sign Orlando Brown, then I can see us changing from a pure wide zone running scheme to a dynamic power wide zone scheme, similar to what McVay did after they lost the Super Bowl. Now, I gotta get up his other comment. His other one cracked me up, because that's why I had it up there for so long. But he said, I don't want Orlando Brown if he plays left tackle. Bad scheme fit. If he wants to play right tackle, I am happy to bring him in. Armstead can take my girlfriend if he wants to come to Cincinnati, for all I care. That would crack me up.
And Armstead, it's a guy we should definitely be considering going after.
My number one guy. That's. I would love to get Armstead, and I'd love to get Brian. Oh crap! I forgot his name already. Shield. What is it again? Jensen. Here it is.
Oh, yes. Ryan Jensen.
Okay.
It's we're at this point now where this is a very pivotal draft for this franchise. This is going to decide your direction for a while, and like Akila said about. We saw that with McVay when he changed his scheme fit, and teams have started sealing it. We seal it a lot with the Rams, the Eagles a little bit, and the Colts. They're using a lot of these pre-snap motions and a lot of movement to try and not disorientate defenses, but just just confuse people a little bit. Just kind of like, and that's what Mave's great at. But Taylor comes from that coaching tree. Taylor was brought in as a young guy. He's going to develop along with the players. And I think that's what really special about this team and why he's endeared himself, not only to the players, but the fans and the city. Look, when we went to Washington Park, there was no bigger cheer than from when Zach Taylor got on the mic.
Oh, he's a freaking rock star in Cincinnati right now. Everybody loves him now.
I cheered for your mayor.
I just like to say I was always on his bandwagon. Just throwing that out there.
I cheered for Aftab. That motherfucker came out drippy as hell. He had the J's on, the classic jacket. Dude was wearing like a $30,000 watch. He was pimped out.
He cracked me up. I've only been the mayor for 5 weeks, but this is pretty cool.
I cheered for him because he cares. I cheered for Mike Brown because even though he is a million years old, he still clearly cares about the team. I booed the wine.
I said that, wasn't it cool? I thought it was really cool to have Mike Brown experience the Bengal fans actually cheering him for one. I thought that was a classy move by the fans because I know he's been a villain at times here in Cincinnati because the way the team has been run. But to hear him get cheered and see the smile on his face, it was nice to see because, like I said, he still owns the team and he owns the team that got us to the Super Bowl.
Dude is literally a billionaire, though. He needs a new hat. That hat is battered that he's wearing. But it's like the point I'm saying. This is the culture he's built. Do you think 2 years ago, if you saw Mike Brown in public, you would have cheered that man?
No.
I don't think you would have. The only person who got booed on that entire stage was DeWine, and that's because he's a feckless idiot with no testicles. And then Zach Taylor gets on the mic, and I've not heard a Cincinnati crowd so loud outside of us scoring touchdowns. That was incredible. And everyone was behind him, and the words that he said, he's built this culture from scratch, and he's been fantastic. And I love, look, I'm going to be honest, I think he is mid as a play caller. I don't think he's a great play caller at all. I think he's very middle of the road. But the thing he's done has built such a great culture that these players believe in each other, and his play calling will improve. That's not.
It's already improved.
He's not going to get worse. But if you look at him from last year, bro, last year he was fucking terrible at calling plays. He just didn't. It looked like he didn't know what he's doing, and I know that was due to a lack of like.
Well, I think, Kerean, I'll not to cut you off here, but I guess I am. This is my point. I kind of got an argument with Josh about this on Monday's show. When we fix this offensive line, how much easier is that going to make it for Zach to call plays? Because he's not going to call him around this offensive line. He can do whatever he wants, that's where I think it's going to improve. And for me, people always call him out for his play calling. My thing is, I'd rather have him do it, who's been doing it for the last 3 years, than Brian Callahan, who's never done it. And that was my point with my argument with Josh, is that's the only other option you have is your offense coordinator who's never done it. So yes, Zach is getting better, and he has some play calls that are lackluster or whatever. And I agree, but I think he's gotten better. But the thing is, he's done this play calling around this atrocious offensive line.
I think that's why, honestly, he's so conservative, and there is the lack of,
Yeah, and he had to do it around Zach Taylor, Jack by Joey Burrow's knee injury at the beginning of the year. So there's a lot of stuff going on for him to have to coach around that. Hopefully, knock on wood, beginning of this year, he's not, or this next 2022, he's not going to have to, or have the O-line fixed.
He's not going to have, some small rub routes and comebacks and shallow crosses every single play now. He can really open this pitch up, and that's going to be perfect. I think also, never heard a Cincinnati fan talk about this, but we're going to have to talk about need a fullback. We just do. That's just a fact. We don't really have a guy who is 100%.
Do they even use a fullback though? How have they used one?
Hey, we're going to need to block. Fullback is perfect for that. A guy I really like who can block well and can also make plays with his hands and run game. Kari Blasingame out of, I think, is it Tennessee right now? Absolutely fantastic fullback. I think you bring him in very cheap because he's a fullback. He can be absolutely fantastic. Also, he's very reliable if you give him the ball on like a 4th and 1 or a 3rd and 1. He a big boy. He's good power through. He's not no Mike Allstott, but he will get you a couple yards when you need him to get you a couple yards. Yeah, so I know nobody's talking about that, but we should probably look at getting a guy like him.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just don't. I don't know if that was part of the offense. I haven't seen a fullback here in 20 years since like Corey Dillon was here. That was the last time we had a legit fullback. So that's where I'm like, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I just don't know if that's part of the scheme or whatever that Zach wants to play here.
And it's weird enough because Giovanni Bernard, when he was here, kind of fit that role because he was just like a thick dude who could go in there and, you know, he could kind of bully people around. His quads were like the size of my torso. He's like a pretty hefty dude. Like,
What do you think about this comment here? He says, I don't think this is bad. Drew Sample's a great fullback option.
It's not bad. The only reason I bring up a guy like Kari Blasingame is because he's a dedicated fullback. That's everything that he does. He knows that position. And yeah, Drew Sample, he can block and stuff like that, but I don't know if he's going to be able to pull off the stunts and the ball carries that we're going to need a guy like Kari Blasingame to do. So I think we should potentially go after that. But there are so many options that I just thought I'd bring that up because I've not heard anyone mention it. And
that's an interesting thing here.
Or
now,
we could go after Jakob Johnson from the New England Patriots because he is a fantastic fullback. He can catch passes, he can run the ball. He's also German and he's got dreadlocks. He is a bad, dude. Yeah, I get what he's saying about saving a roster spot, but at some points with a guy, especially like Jakob Johnson or a dedicated fullback who is a very, very good, as a fullback, you are going to need them. You are going to need them on certain situations. If you are passing it on 4th down, for example, or you need inches and you don't want to throw your franchise quarterback into a pile of 22 300-pound dudes, for example.
We've done that enough. The cooler says I'd be willing to take a power back Brian Robinson from Bama in the 4th.
That could work. Bama has this weird thing where they'll go from year to year. One year they'll have a power back. The next year they'll have a dude who is so fast he burns out of his cleats on every single play. And then every few years they get a Derrick Henry who is a mixture of both.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Paul got a comment here. And Paul, I'm assuming you just joined the show, but that's pretty much what we've been saying. We need to sign offensive linemen here. And he said we need to sign these guys in free agency. Ryan Jensen, what I said, Brian Schaefer, left tackle Trey Armstead, and Jonah Williams to right tackle, also guard Lake Tom. To me, Paul, they're not signing all those guys. There's no way the Bengals sign all those guys. I think they got a shot at signing Ryan Jensen and Taron Armstead or Orlando Brown. And my thought is you get your tackle, you get your center, you move Jonah Williams over to right tackle, you re-sign Quentin Spain, and you kick Hopkins over to guard. And then you have Carmen Jackson and Devontae Smith sitting in the background, waiting in the wings to take over eventually and developing. So that would be awesome if they sign all these guys, but there's no way in hell they're signing that many guys.
Like I said, sign talent, draft depth.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's my whole thing. Now, one thing I want to get to is the Bengals' biggest free agent that they need to sign, and that's none other than Jesse Bates. Now, what
came
are
up big in the Super Bowl?
Yes, he looked like Jesse
and
Bates.
I'll be honest, had a bit of a lackluster season, but when it really mattered in the playoffs, he showed up.
I think the contract not being done got to him. I really do think that. That's where I think, but I'd still sign him though.
Yeah, you got to still sign him. I mean, he came up big in the playoffs, and when do you need to win games most? I don't give a shit if we finish the season 10-7 or 9-8. If we make the playoffs and then win all the playoff games and go to the Super Bowl, I could give a fuck about the regular season. If I'm being completely honest with you, I care when the chips are down and it's one game or go home. That's when we need Jesse Bates to turn up. And guess when he turned up? The exact time we needed him.
Now, one thing I've said this a couple times on the show, I talked to Troy Blackburn outside practice beginning of the year, and I was like, hey, you guys need to sign Jesse Bates. And he said that's their plan. And the agent, Jesse Bates' agent, wanted to wait until after the season. This is according to Troy Blackburn. So I'm hoping that they will get him signed. I'm hoping it happens before free agency, because if it doesn't happen before he hits free agency, then they're going to have to tag him, which would suck. And then they tag him, and then he is then they could try to get him signed long term that way. But I'm hoping they get it done before that. But that's as far as the Bengals' own free agents that he needs to sign. He's by far the biggest one, and I don't think I'm, saying anything that anybody else watching the show doesn't agree with.
The problem is, and this is how it's going to look to the people on the outside. This is not how it's going to look to Bengals fans, but there is kind of a stigma that Mike Brown is a little bit cheap. I don't think that's weird to say, and that's probably the only reason there's so much about a speculation around Jesse. Jesse said it himself early in the season. You even said it to me that you pretty sure he's going to get signed after the season.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's just from what Troy told me. So
I think we'll have a deal done with him before March hits.
I'm we that needs to be done. I mean that and that's the thing is I'm hoping they get some of these, like right now is the window frame where they can sign their own guys. I mean, we signed Larry O, we can sign BJ Hill, we can sign Jesse Bates. We need to get these guys done. I'll get to Nate's comment here. He said, "No way, KC lets Brown go. They traded too much for him last year, and they might not. I mean that is an option, but also from what I've heard and read that he wants to come to Cincinnati. It's kind of what so." But I mean, honestly, Armstead is the one I would prefer to get out of them. And Paul here says they have the third most money to spend in free agency, and that's before we even cut Trey Hendrickson, get another $12 million for doing that. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, we got so much money, but let's be honest, the Bengals have spent a lot of money. I still don't think they're going to spend up to the cap. I mean, they're going to get close, but let's be honest.
You're not going to spend New England money.
No,
let's be honest. You're not going to do that. But you've got to go out there and you've got to be aggressive. I think the way the Bengals can make a statement is by going out there and signing the guys they want on day one. Some of these guys you're going to have to say, hey, blank check, write in what you want and come play for us. But like we've been seeing from a lot of players around the league, Rob Gronkowski, that big fucking idiot, who I love him to death, but he might be the most unintelligent man on planet Earth. He literally talks and acts like a child. But the thing he said is he's only ever played with one quarterback his entire life in the pros, and that's Tom Brady. What did he say? If I play football again, I only want to play with Joe Burrow.
Right.
What does that tell you when a guy who's only played with Brady his whole career tells you he wants to play with Joe Burrow? What's that going to look like for other guys around the league?
Everybody went nuts with going to get Gronk. I'm like, I don't necessarily want Gronk, but he's saying it. He's saying what everybody else in the league is already thinking that's going to happen. They want to come here and play with Joe. And please wake up, folks. March 15th is when free agency starts.
And then you get guys like decent role players like Bobby Okereke in I'm not saying his name how the announcers say it. It's Okereke. Pat McAfee pronounced it correctly. It's not Okereke. You're going to have guys like that who are saying, hey, you know what? I'm not a little bitch. I don't mind practicing in the rain. Oh, we have to drive 20 minutes to go practice indoors at UC? Not an issue. I live a 40-minute drive from the practice facility anyway. Like all these stupid shit about, we need it out indoor practice facility. No, we don't. That's soft. You are soft as baby shit if you think you need an indoor practice facility. That's fucking baby shit. I grew up in a country where it rains 364 days a year, and we get
rains in Boston that many times.
So much. We get that one day of summer a year. And these guys, you get brilliant summers out here in Cincinnati. I will say that. So when you've got guys who want to come here, aren't fucking soft, because can you imagine if you didn't go play because you read about getting cold on a weekday? Absolute soft as baby shit, pampered NFL players. I don't need it. So guys want to play with Joe Burrow, and that is huge for free agency because we've seen guys take pay cuts to go play with people they like. We've seen guys take pay cuts to chase rings. And I said this to you on the phone earlier. This is going to be the new thing. We're going to be the new Tampa Bay Bucks in terms of veterans who want cheap one-year deals to come win a ring. Eric Weddle type dudes. They are going to come in They are going to give us that depth, and depth with veterans is crazy because they've got that experience. So we're going to have that depth. We're going to go forward. Joe Burrow is going to be knighted as king of Cincinnati at one point.
He already is.
And we are going to go ahead and win Super Bowls because Joe Burrow is not only bringing people to the team, but he's bringing people to the city.
Exactly.
When is the last time? Do you think thousands of people would have come to Washington Park to cheer on Andy Dalton?
No.
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 He's ginger. He smells like piss, and he eats nothing but biscuits because that's what ginger people do. So we've got a very special gift here. We've got possibly one of the greatest quarterbacks who's ever going to do it when all is said and done here.
Exactly.
And people want to come play with him. You
Boom.
can't buy that.
I'll get to Dennis's comment here. He said, "Hey, Strawberry Ice, do you think the Bengals should do like the Rams did and mortgage their future for a Super Bowl?
No.
You seem to be able to do that more now." No, I'm with you. No, they shouldn't because they don't have to. That's the thing is they don't have to, Dennis. They've got all these guys on the contract. The window is right now. You go fix this offensive line. You get a cornerback. And then you draft for depth, they're fixed. It's done. They don't have to mortgage anything. And that's where I'm at, where I don't want them to trade draft picks or anything because everything they need is in free agency. Go get a center, go get a tackle, or go get a guard or whatever they do. Fix this offensive line, get another cornerback, and go draft for depth. So
and also you've got to look at this LSU brotherhood as well. Now I tell you this week in, week out, and everyone who listens to the show know I talk about it. I'm wearing my LSU shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a family. Look at OBJ. Look at what he got himself banned from the LSU campus for an entire year just so he could go to the national championship game and give out money.
Yeah,
He gave Jefferson, Chase, and a bunch of players his brand new signature cleats, and he had them done in Louisiana colors so they could go out there and play on the field with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a brotherhood. So when you get high-level guys who are, like OBJ, who are kind of getting to their end of the career but want to sign a cheap deal because they want to go and win a ring, LSU's got that talent, baby. People don't realize how much of a hero Burrow is. To the people who attended.
I know just from LSU fans contacting me. I'll get
you know how a 22-year-old or a 23-year-old goes and hangs out with Andrew Whitworth?
No, right, exactly. They're boys. All right, Paul here, and this is a good point of what he said about Mike Brown. Mike Brown just came out today and said he's going to get Burrow the help he needs. I think he will spend because he realizes that the window to field an unbeatable roster is now. Yes, and I agree with you, Paul. I read that comment too. I think he knows. Look, let's be honest. Mike Brown has been searching for Joe Burrow his entire life. This is the guy that his father was trying to find. So they know what they have. So, yes, I agree that they're going to fix the offensive line. They're going to go get I think they're going to get a free agent cornerback too. And they're going to sign as many of their guys as they can. I know somebody put out there that BJ Hill, acted like he might not come back. I think he's coming back. Honestly, I think there's a better chance of him coming back than Larry O. I want them both back, but I have a feeling there's a better chance of BJ coming back than Larry O. And like I said, I want them to sign both of them. So,
like I said, two huge dudes who can be in there just eating up the middle of the field. Same with DJ Reader, just a gigantic human being who's going to go up in there in the trenches, take up blocks, and create space.
I got blocked. I keep getting this person trying to do weird crap in my comments here. I gotta keep blocking them.
Yeah, it's because I'm on there. That's where you get all the porn adverts. You get
they were on yesterday too. I'm like, would you stop? I blocked you. Quit coming on.
That's because they knew I was coming on. Just things always get like this when I'm here. But it's like Argy's saying, hope BJ and Larry come back because this is what we've been talking about all show. When we go to the line, big dudes who are going to eat up blocks and just cause trouble. They might not be getting sacks or pressures, but they are opening up. Look, these are guys who don't fill up the stat sheets. Look at Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen in Washington. They are not necessarily getting 15 sacks a season, but the reason both their edge rushers got 10 sacks a season is because of those guys in the middle. So we need guys like Hill, Reader, and Larry O to be there in the middle, to be disruptive, and to be a problem. They don't have to be game-breaking plays. They just need to be enough of a problem that Hubbard and Hendrickson are getting open.
Right. And other thing that I keep pointing this out too, as far as the pass rush goes, we're gonna have Joseph Osai next year too. So you get him, and you can get another pass rusher in the second, third, fourth round, somewhere around there, dude. It's like I said, the sky's the limit with this, and that's where I'm just like, and like everybody's talking about that Mike Brown's going to spend money. He's going to. They've done it last few years. I think he's finally seen the light of what he has, and he's going to protect it, and he's going to go out there and do everything he can to get this Super Bowl. I think he's finally realized what needs to be done, and like I said, it's not just him. It's him. It's Katie. It's Troy. It's Zach. All of them are working together to get this accomplished. So the job's not done yet, dude. I cannot wait till March 15th. I'm so excited about free agency. I want to see who we get, and then the draft's coming out, and I'm hoping that I can go down to Indianapolis for the draft combine. I saw on their website where they said they were going to make an announcement about player or people being able to attend it yesterday. Well, they never announced anything, so I don't know if we're going to attend it or not. But I would love to go down there and attend it. Are you planning on going down there at all, Kerean?
Do you want my controversial take?
What you got?
Combine is fucking stupid. No, it is, because you're not demonstrating.
No, I know where you're going. I agree with you.
The fact that guys lose millions of dollars because their 40 time was like 0.2 of a second slower than someone. It's stupid. We've seen before. I can't remember the guy's name. I'll have to find it out for you. He got drafted by the Eagles. He specifically trained for the combine. He trained all the combine drills, beasted the combine, and then fucking sucked when he played football because he was good at combine drills but not football.
Yeah, exactly. I like to. I mean, I'm just such a geek on when it comes to this stuff. I like combine. I like going and watching.
I love watching players. For sure. Yeah,
but I agree.
I think the concept is
I agree. I think they should take, and I think they've kind of pulled it back a little bit on the combine as much as they hold it in high regards as they used to, because of what you just said. Just because the guy looks good in shorts and t-shirt doesn't mean he can do that in football pads. So it's completely different. So you got to take the combine and the tape, the game tape too, as well.
Yeah, you'll have some big 300-pound lineman come in and do 30 reps on the bench,
right,
but then he'll come into a game and get absolutely slaughtered by corners who are pass rushing. So it really doesn't show anything to your level of what you can do in the game. Same with shit like the Wonderlic. Who cares? Ryan Fitzpatrick has the highest Wonderlic score that's ever been recorded.
He went to freaking Harvard.
He's no more than a journeyman quarterback, which is what I'm saying. It really, it's pointless. And it's fun. And if Jamard ran a slow 40, we still would have drafted him. But you see what I mean? His 40 was very average, but then you get, not average, as fast as fuck. But in terms of guys like Tyreek Hill and stuff, and I mean, John Ross had a faster fucking 40 time, and how good was he in the league? Exactly.
My point being is Andre Smith. Exactly.
Game speed is completely different. These guys aren't out there running routes and catching balls on routes and showing you how they can juke players and stuff like that. It's absolutely ridiculous.
All right, somebody's asked you what's your favorite team.
Bengals.
Yeah, baby.
LSU. And if he's talking soccer, I should probably say FCC, but Reading, because that's who I played for as a kid.
There you go. All right, Kerean. Well, it's a little after 6:30. I think we're going to roll on out of here. Hey, tell everybody you got the draft guide coming out. What that entails, when it's coming, all that stuff.
It's going to be finished at the end of this month, but then we've got to proof it and stuff. Probably mid to late March, we're probably going to get it done. And then obviously you've got a guest coming in on Monday. It's the guy who's doing our edge class, Mr. Lee Wakefield. Now, he is a Chargers fan, so do not talk to him about Burrow versus Herbert, even though he will give you a very fair assessment of Burrow. He is honestly the nicest Chargers fan I know, and an incredibly, incredibly smart scout. So he's going to come in to talk to you about the edge class on Monday.
Yeah, we're going to record that early Monday. So if everybody's watching now, portions of Monday's show, if not all of it, will be recorded. So
I'm definitely going to be tuning in for that, because anytime Lee talks football, I love to listen.
Exactly. So follow him at the Hembo at Full 10.
At the Himbo F10Y. If you want to come cry about me not liking Israel, or if you want to come cry,
go talk to that guy about that stuff. Leave me out of it.
Or you come cry about how good my football opinions are, or you can come cry that I am handsome and beautiful as fuck. Come over and we'll have fun.
There you go. All right, Kerean, as always, brother, it's a pleasure. Who day?
Okay.
Oh, I cut him off. My bad. I cut him off a little bit. Sorry about that. But yeah, Kerean, like I said, go check him out. Like I said, they have their draft guide coming up very, very soon. I'm gonna have one of the main guys on Monday. It'll be a recorded interview because he's over in England, but he does know what the hell he's talking about. So it'll be recorded, and we will get that on because I'm gonna get deep into the draft and deep into free agency here. Also, I'm not forgetting about the UC Bearcats. They played last night. They won. They shot really well. I'm happy about it. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm so into football right now. That's all I feel like talking about right now. And baseball, I have no idea if they're going to play or when they're going to play or any of that stuff. So let's talk some college basketball here because I'll get into it. We got March Madness coming up here very, very shortly. So I will be doing some more college basketball talk here soon. But I'm going to be very heavy on the draft and free agency and just what the Bengals are doing. Let's see here. Mike, what do you got here? Mike Hoffman, Strawberry Ice. I know Cincinnati has a football and football and a baseball team. What's your favorite basketball team and hockey team? My favorite hockey team is the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's my favorite basketball team, Cleveland Cavaliers, and the hockey team is the Columbus Blue Jackets. So, because I can always watch them. That's why I like them. So, there we go. And let's get to the Facebook groups that let me live stream. And as always, I appreciate every single one of them. They're Houday Nation, Houday Legion, Cincinnati Reds, riding third, heading for home, Bearcat Ruckus, Bearcat Country, the Ohio State Bucknuts, the Ice Bar. They can follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Twitter handle is at Jeff A. Trunapole. TikTok is at Iceman90. I'll be pulling a sound off later on tonight, putting on the podcast. So if you missed anything of what Kerean and I were talking about as far as free agency goes, his draft, mock draft, what we think the Bengals possibly could do and should do, go check out the podcast. It's on BeanPod, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you rate, like, and review. Give me a 5-star review. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leave a comment so more Cincinnati fans can find my podcast. YouTubers, you guys are awesome. We did it. We're at 1,500 subscribers. That is awesome. Let's get like 500 more. Let's try to get to 2,000 subscribers. That would be great. So please, like I said, if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that, please go to the YouTube channel, Sports with Strawberry Ice. Hit the subscription button, hit the bell for notification, and every time I go live, you'll be notified. And as far as everything else goes, you guys have a wonderful weekend. It's getting cold here again in Cincinnati. We had a couple nice days, like 50 degrees. Now it's freezing again. Enjoy the weekend. I'll see you guys Monday. I got some really great guests coming up Monday. Also, my son has got a very interesting video that he's putting together as far as everybody keeps talking about Jamar Chase and how he's wide open on the last play of the game. It's going to kill you. There's another guy that was wide open that I'm just going to tease you about right now that you guys will have to wait and see. I think he's going to put the video together hopefully Sunday. Hopefully it'll be up on the channel hopefully Sunday night. Monday, check it out. Oh, we need to fix that offensive line. It's so close. Anyway, you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday. And that's just sports, baby. See ya!
Let's go. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black, and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, day we ignite and Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle, we unite and dripping orange and black and white. Day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle, dripping heat. Tigers strike the city streets. East side, stand up. West side, stand up. If you reppin' who they? Time to black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping, nasty, natty, yeah, we lit it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud, yeah, we feasting now. Fit the pounce, make the city howl, now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle, when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise in in the jungle, we unite in drippin' orange and black and white, all day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Now who wanna move dancing on? Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock them, yeah we got them, yeah we fought them, like that black and orange upon them. Bingo bottle, never stop it, till the beast and know who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossin' on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen, we gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night, stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white, cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite and Cincinnati, we gon' rise and